The second you say the number out loud, something in the room changes. Nobody gasps. Nothing looks different on the surface. But Tyler felt it anyway. The night he mentioned it at dinner, 2 beers in, not bragging, just proud. He had no idea he had just moved a line that never moves back. Here is the promise of this video. The biggest threat to what you have built is not a bad month in the market. It is a single sentence you cannot take back, and the quiet position you have been protecting gets more expensive the second anyone else can see it. This is the exposure cost, and almost nobody accounts for it. Stay with this one, because by the end you are going to know exactly which sentences are safe to say out loud, and which ones are the most expensive words you will ever speak for free. Picture a vault, not as a metaphor about safety, as a plain mechanical fact about how a vault actually works. A vault is only as strong as the number of people who know the combination. The steel is not doing the work. The silence is doing the work. The moment 2 people know the combination instead of 1, the vault is not weaker by half. It becomes a different object entirely. It stops being storage and starts being a target that has to be managed, defended, and explained. Your financial position runs on the same mechanics. It compounds best in the dark. It builds you options nobody else has to approve of. The moment the wrong people get a rough sense of what is actually in it, the accounting changes, whether or not a single person ever asks you for a cent. Plenty of people who look financially comfortable are, underneath it, one skipped paycheck away from real trouble. That is not always a wages problem. Very often, it is a visibility problem. They reached a level, they let people see it, and they have spent every year since protecting the idea of that number instead of protecting the number itself. There is a name that gets used for this all the time, lifestyle creep, and it has always struck me as the wrong word. Creep suggests something slow, accidental, barely noticeable. What is actually happening is closer to a mechanism than a mood. Think of it as a ratchet, not a dial. A dial can turn either direction. A ratchet only turns one way. Every visible upgrade, the new car, the renovated kitchen, the dinner where you grab the whole check without blinking, clicks the ratchet forward one notch. Nothing clicks it back. Not your budget, not your intentions, only a conversation you never planned on having with the same people who watched you set that floor in the first place. This is not really a video about hiding money from people who love you, and it is not about some paranoid idea of people coming to take what you have built. That is a different, much smaller video, and a much dumber one. This is about a quieter mechanism, the way visibility itself, all on its own, drains the exact thing it was supposed to celebrate. There is a pressure running underneath almost every financial decision you make, and it rarely gets named directly. It is the pressure to look like you are keeping up, to look successful at the pace everyone else seems to be moving, to have the answer ready when somebody asks how you are doing. That pressure did not start with you, and it will not end with you either. It is cultural, not personal, and it profits from being invisible. The quiet position is not about distrust of the people around you. It is about refusing to let a shared cultural expectation set the terms of your own accounting. Tyler is good at his job, has been for years, makes solid money, and knows how to hold on to it. He got serious a while back, maxed out what he could put away, built a real reserve, kept adding to it every single month without ever making a production out of it. He was doing everything right. Then, at that dinner, 2 beers in, he said the number. Just once. Just to people he trusted completely. Watch what happened over the next 2 years, because none of it happened all at once. The ledger was open now, and an open ledger does not go quietly back into the vault. The friend group started drifting toward nicer restaurants, not every week, just often enough that nobody could point to the exact moment it shifted. Tyler never pushed back, because pushing back felt strange once everyone already assumed he could afford not to. His parents started calling him first when anything broke. A car, a roof, some bill nobody saw coming, because he was, in their words, the one who had it together now. He paid. Nobody forced him to. Saying no simply cost him something it never used to cost. By the time those 2 years had passed, Tyler's balance had barely moved, despite years of decent income and genuine discipline. Nobody had taken anything from him directly. He had just quietly financed the version of himself that everyone now expected to show up. Here is the part that is easy to miss. You would assume the real danger is people asking you for money. That happens, and it is real. But it is the smaller cost by far. The larger one is that you start giving before anyone even asks, because the identity you built out loud makes generosity the path of least resistance every single time. That is not weakness on your part. That is a perfectly rational person responding to an incentive they built for themselves without meaning to build it at all. If you have ever felt that pull to explain a purchase to somebody who never even asked you to, drop where in the comments. It happens far more often than people admit out loud. There is an old story, centuries old at this point, about a writer who received an unexpected gift, an elegant new robe, finer than anything else he owned. Within a single year, he had replaced nearly every piece of furniture in his home, chasing a version of his apartment that finally matched the robe, and ended up almost as broke as before the gift ever arrived. He wrote about the whole episode himself, half embarrassed, describing how the robe made everything sitting next to it suddenly look shabby by comparison. That pull has a real name in behavioral economics, and it was never really about robes. It is about visibility. The moment people can see one upgrade, they quietly recalibrate everything else they think they know about you, and you feel the pull to make the entire picture match. A single visible purchase never costs what it costs on the receipt. It costs the whole surrounding picture that suddenly needs to catch up to it. There is something even stranger going on underneath all of this. Something that has nothing to do with anyone watching you at all. Once you have publicly settled into a certain financial identity, whether you announced it on purpose or it just leaked out over a few dinners, some part of your own thinking starts protecting that identity without asking your permission first. It is not vanity. It is just how people tend to operate, matching new choices against the picture of themselves they have already put out into the world. You start filtering ordinary decisions through a question you never consciously ask out loud. Does this still look like me? Ordering the cheaper thing on the menu starts to feel wrong once people expect you to order the other thing. Sitting out a trip for financial reasons starts to feel wrong once your reputation has already calibrated to a certain level. None of that filtering feels like a calculation in the moment. All of it quietly costs money anyway. The vault does not just protect you from other people's radar. Left alone, it protects you from your own. Now picture Derek. Same rough income as Tyler, same age, a similar kind of job. Derek maxes his own accounts too, builds his reserve the exact same disciplined way, month after month. The difference is that nobody outside his own house has ever had a real number for him. His friends think he is comfortable. His family thinks he is careful. Nobody has ever once heard him mention a total. He drives something plain on purpose, not because he cannot afford better, but because he genuinely does not care what the car communicates to people who were never going to help him build anything anyway. Derek's floor was never announced, so nobody is calibrated against it, and nobody is quietly enforcing it either. If you are not subscribed yet, now is a good time. New videos on the quiet position land here every week. Money gets called freedom a lot, which is true, but vague. What a number nobody can see actually buys you is negotiating power. In any room, the person with the fewest visible needs holds the leverage. Whether that room is a salary negotiation, a family situation, or a decision about whether to walk away from something that is not working anymore. The moment people around you have a rough number for you, they know your floor. They know exactly what you can absorb. And when you try to say you cannot afford something, it does not land, because you have already told them, one way or another, that you can. Think about how that actually plays out in an ordinary week. Somebody proposes splitting a bill unevenly because they assume you will not mind. A relative frames a request as an assumption instead of an ask, because refusing an assumption is somehow harder than refusing a direct question. A colleague hints that you should be the one who picks up the tab for the team, because everyone has quietly agreed you are the one who can. None of these moments look like a cost when they happen. Each one is small enough to wave off on its own, Add them up over a decade and they are not small anymore. They are the exposure cost, collected one polite yes at a time. Picture two people, same age, similar income, the same discipline with money. One of them is visibly doing well and has been for years, never hiding it, never meaning any harm by it. The other tells almost nobody anything. Give it 15 years. The quiet one is not just a little further ahead. The gap is significant, and none of it comes from smarter investing or a lucky break. It comes entirely from what one of them let the people around him see. If this is landing for you so far, a like helps more than you would think. It is mostly how this finds the people who need to hear it before they say the wrong number out loud at the wrong dinner. Now give the quiet one a real test. A chance at work he actually wants, for less money, with no guarantee any of it works out. The visible one cannot take that call. He has a floor other people are calibrated to, commitments nobody ever wrote down but everybody still expects him to keep. The quiet one runs the numbers alone, looks at a position nobody outside his own house has ever seen the size of, and says yes, because none of his optionality was ever spent keeping up an image for people who were never going to split the bill with him anyway. So here is what actually protects the quiet position, and none of it is about spending less. First, take an honest look at what you have made visible over the last year, not what you have spent, what you have shown. Think through what you have said, posted, mentioned, or let slip to the people in your regular life. What would a reasonable person guess about your number, based only on what they have watched you do? If the guess would land close, the exposure has already happened. You cannot undo what people already know, but you can absolutely stop adding to it. No more updates. No more visible upgrades that quietly recalibrate what people think your floor is. Let the vault start closing again. It takes longer to shut than it did to open, but it does shut. Second, stop tying your milestones to your audience. Hitting a real number for the first time deserves to feel like something. It just does not need a witness outside the one or two people who already share your accounts and your future with you. Write it down somewhere private if you need it to feel real. Say it out loud to the one person it actually belongs to. The compounding does not care whether anybody applauded it, and the milestone is not smaller because nobody clapped. Third, build what this channel keeps coming back to as the option count, a number only you know, sitting quietly outside of anyone else's expectations, large enough that no favor, no request, and no sudden opportunity can ever catch you needing to explain yourself first. This is not your emergency fund in the ordinary sense, the kind other people are allowed to know exists in the abstract. This is the number nobody has a vote on. The person at dinner who could quietly pick up the entire table and instead orders from the middle of the menu and says nothing about it is not being cheap. That is somebody who knows exactly what is in the vault and has decided the door stays shut. If this changed how you think about the next time somebody asks what you are worth, share it with the one person you would actually want to have that conversation with. None of this is an argument for austerity, and it is not an argument for never spending on anything that makes your life better. Buy the thing you genuinely love for reasons that have nothing to do with who is watching you buy it. That is a completely different transaction from spending in order to keep a story consistent for an audience. The uncomfortable part is that most spending is actually a mix of both, and getting precise about which is most of the whole skill. Go back to the vault for a second. A vault does not get stronger by showing people what is sitting inside it. It gets stronger by staying the only one who knows the combination. Almost everything around you is built to get you to open that door anyway, offers that reward you for spending where people can see it, feeds engineered to make you announce every upgrade, entire industries whose only real product is the gap between what you have and what you could show. None of that is a conspiracy. It is just an incentive, aimed directly at the part of you that wants to be seen. Once you notice it, staying quiet stops feeling like hiding and starts feeling like exactly what it is. The only version of what you have built that was ever actually fully yours to keep. The vault was never about the door. It was always about who gets to know what is behind it.